Good afternoon, everyone, all you NAUI members around the world. For the folks who haven't met me, my name is Angelo Fiore. I am the Vice President of Sales and Marketing for NAUI Service Group. Today, we have a very special guest speaker backed by popular demand. We have David Winford, who is going to talk about the world-class entrepreneur, the leadership roadmap to more success. Before we do go with David Winford, I just wanted to bring everybody's attention to, we're also going to start up with Chris Shannon from our training department. Chris is going to go ahead and talk about some things that have been happening in the training area at NAUI, some changes that we need to know about, or some things that are happening. We just want to make sure everybody's well versed in them. Without further ado, let's go ahead. We're about 2 minutes into this. So Chris, why don't you go ahead and kick it off right now with some of the training things that we got to discuss.
Gotcha. Thanks, Angelo, for that intro. Real quick, guys, we just want to let you know what's going on in the training arena. So first up, and I know this will be good for some of our international members, there are, I believe it's 5 new languages available in e-learning for the open water scuba diver courses. Do keep an eye out, guys. We've been pushing out new courses in the languages more localized to your region pretty regularly throughout this calendar year, and you're going to see that continuing throughout the year. In addition to that, I know a lot of you guys that are in Europe and throughout Asia have been waiting confirmation of our EUF certification for the next 5 years. We've just gotten that certification. That audit was completed late last month, and then we were waiting on one element that our board voted on literally about 2 hours ago. And that's going to be a minor change to our standards. You guys will see those new standards coming out into core probably this afternoon or first thing tomorrow morning, as well as an email announcement. That is only going to impact our skin diving instructor course. So the skin diving instructor course, previous skills were under skin diving skills. It would read kick 823 meters, 900 yards, demonstrating an effective technique. Mind you, that's the skin diving skill. So you're equipped with mask, snorkel, and fins. So the new skill is going to be that they need to kick 800 meters, so a shorter distance, but there's going to be a time requirement. So they need to do that in 15 minutes or less. For a little bit of reference for you guys, if you're an Olympic-sized swimming pool, that's a pace of just over one link of the pool in 1 minute. So very attainable, especially if you consider they're going to be wearing mask, fins, and snorkels. So you got a good setup for that. So you'll see those standards up here in the next 24 hours or so. And then also keep an eye out, if you haven't noticed, mobile training team events are picking up as we're getting back out to trade shows. So those mobile training team events, we're trying to stack them just prior to industry trade shows. So we're going to be out in Long Beach. If you need a first aid instructor workshop, or if you are interested in attending a member update there, definitely hop on to naui.org/MTT, and it'll have all of the details of where we're going to be. And there's discounts if you do early enrollment for any of those events. I think that's all I've got for the training updates. I'll take a look at the Q&As down at the bottom. If you guys have any specific questions, drop them in there for me and I will get them answered for you guys. Angelo?
Yeah, Chris, thanks. And that's, you guys did hear that correctly. We are starting to promote right now that we will be at DEMA of 2022 in Orlando. We will be hosting, in addition to being out on the floor, we will be hosting a series of seminars that'll be very, I think, intriguing and very innovative and dynamic. I think everybody will really appreciate them. So without further ado, I'd like to go ahead and we'll go ahead and share my screen. But we're very fortunate again today. I know that over the past year or so, we've done some presentations with David Winford on lead generation and on marketing domination. And David has been very, just giving everything he has to us and allowing us to, get into some of his time and everything. And we're fortunate to have him with us today. And today we're going to talk about a world-class entrepreneur and the leadership's roadmap to more success. So let me go ahead and share my screen.
All right. Well, hello, everyone. It's good to be back with all of you. In our last talk, I shared with some cutting-edge information that I hope you've implemented in your business. We talked about generating more customers, and I gave you a formula to help you to dominate your market. Today, I'm going to answer the question about how to be a world-class entrepreneur. And again, because I'm crazy about you guys, the entrepreneur, I'm going to give you a leadership system that will help you to get better business and more life out of it. Are you the leader or merely the most senior employee? Now, if you're doing the technical work of your business, working in it instead of on it, you're not leading it and you're not building it. During the time you're filling the scuba tanks, working the cash register, selling rubber goods, driving students to the checkout dive site, cleaning the store, or collecting the bills, you're nothing more than an employee. Yes, you may be your own boss, yet you're still an employee. And you're not building your business, you're working in a job. Please understand, there's nothing wrong with working in your business as long as that's what your choice is and that you're content with it. However, I don't believe you're content. Having said that, let me be crystal clear here. If you are content, please don't waste your time with this seminar. Get back to working in it, my friend. Now, if you're not content, let's keep moving. Every day I get to speak with entrepreneurs and they share with me that they work too hard and receive too little reward. They know their business is in chaos and they lack a way of doing business that works. Moreover, they desperately want a better life and are willing to do whatever it takes to be serious about committing to it. Question becomes, how serious are you? So now let's explore the world-class entrepreneurship.
I think that's just want to circle back to what you just said right there. I think that's a lot of in listening to what you're saying, and I know a lot of us, and as you get through this presentation, I think that a lot of us get caught up in our business. And I know that it's almost, I heard the phrase one time, being called a prisoner of your business. And that always resonated with me because we think we're these, we own a business and we're buying and we're getting a business so we don't have to have the man, the job getting beat down, and we don't have to we're looking for that freedom. But what ends up happening was, in search of that freedom, we end up becoming a prisoner.
Yeah, no, it's a big issue. There's three things. I've shared it with you guys before, I believe. I share it with everybody. It's lonely at the top. It's very difficult to self-correct, and you don't know what you don't know. So, Ange, they have to have a clear vision, understanding of what it's like to be an entrepreneur or a world-class entrepreneur, because they're leading people to move in a direction that will help them, the owner, the entrepreneur, achieve their ultimate vision of whatever that business is for them, or whatever it's supposed to do for them. So it's a really interesting kind of mindset in all reality.
Right.
Yeah. So that's why I'm asking people to think about, what's it like to be a leader? What's it like to be a world-class leader? To think about it.
So obviously we have three bullet points. We got a vision, an action, and a spirit. Why don't you go ahead and take that away? Okay.
So again, with vision, well, first and foremost, every entrepreneur must become the leader, the world-class leader is where I'm going with that. And, leadership has different meanings for different people. Yet I believe it's, these three components, vision, action, and spirit, are the cornerstone to being the world-class entrepreneur. So when you look at vision here, vision is your dream for the future of the business and the path you will take to make it a reality. We all need a crystal clear vision that you communicate clearly with the energy and the strong sense of commitment. Everyone in your business must understand it and believe in it. It really must become their vision as well as your vision. And if you don't set the direction and guide the business, it will go nowhere, right? So moreover, unless you have a clear vision for the future of your business and an equally clear vision for the path you will take to get there, you won't get there except by an accident. So, that's the part of vision. Now, when it comes to action, action is what you do and the way you do it. Keep in mind, the example you set as a role model sets the tone for everyone. Systemization, personal efficiency, and your values and principles must become your business's hallmarks. If you truly want to achieve your personal and professional goals, you must take action. This is the tough part, right, Ange, for everyone? Taking the action.
The implementation and the action is always the toughest.
Exactly. So there's the tough part for it. The vision gets tough for sure, because you got to stop long enough to say, hey, here's what I want and how I want it. This is the way I want to look and feel and taste. Yet now you got to take action on something, right? And so how are you going to do that? So you've got to be clear about the action that you're going to take. And then of course there's the spirit of it all, right? So the spirit is the way you do things and the energy you put in into whatever you do. It's your positive outlook. It's your obvious belief in your business and its future. It's your sense of fun and the way you approach life. This is always the tough part for entrepreneurs. They don't necessarily want to show or express that full spirit of what they're all about. Does that make sense, Ange?
No, it does. I mean, it's a perfect, the whole, attitude. You hear it said so many different ways, but it always comes down to a couple simple components. A vision. What's the result, the implementation, the action, and obviously, as entrepreneurs, as business owners, the reason that we became entrepreneurs and the reason why we opened up our own businesses is the spirit, the passion that we have for the love of the sport or the love of the business or the love of that, just sharing that passion that we have with others. Or we just go back to what you said earlier, we're just, JOB. Yeah. So just so I pick up where you are, I know that we're on the spirit of the world-class entrepreneur, correct?
Yeah. We're on slide 7. Yeah. So no, that's where we're at right there. The spirit of the world-class entrepreneur. And that's what we have to look at there. I appreciate what you're saying. That's where, again, owners and entrepreneurs, I'm coming from the mindset again, it says, hey, technicians start their businesses, right? Again, I've shared with you guys before, the scuba guy starts a scuba shop, right? Or the scuba instructor starts a scuba shop, right? The backyard mechanic starts the auto shop, so they're doing those kinds of things. So they're not necessarily clear about what it takes to be a leader, right? And so I'm giving you a simple way of thinking about it that says, hey, you need to have a vision and action and spirit. That's leadership. So each time you start to think about, hey, how am I going to move forward? Do I have a clear vision? Am I, what are the action steps that I'm going to have to take? And what's the spirit behind it? Is it going to fulfill my essence, my spirit of life? So those are kinds of things that entrepreneurs have to think about. So let's keep moving towards the spirit of a world-class entrepreneur.
Right.
So we have vision, action, and spirit are the essence of a world-class leadership. Yet they must be, again, your vision, your action, and your spirit. You shouldn't be mimicking a rigid one-size-fits-all approach to leadership that forces you to become someone you're not. Now, I'll teach you the world-class entrepreneur principles, and I'll show you how to adapt them, making them your way, with your one-of-a-kind style, your unique values, and your individual strengths. So the bottom line here is, my friends, to me, that's the strength of a world-class entrepreneur and the world-class entrepreneur way. It's really, and actually, and more importantly, it's your way. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I mean, I'm looking at it right now and I'm looking through some of the slides right here. It's about our passion. It's about, your flavor, your flair, putting it on this. I mean, it's the customer service. You're always listening to the aspects of what separates, how do you push that gap between you and your competition? Where is that gap at? Like, how do you separate yourself from the field? And I've heard a lot of different things over the years. I mean, I've walked into stores, cleanliness, that's just a simple, something along those lines. You have to take a step back, look at how your store, what's the appearance of your store? What is the optics of that? Just how innovative are you in your products, the knowledge of your products, your financials, how are you managing your finances? But there's so many different dynamics that you have to take a look at. I'm looking at some of the stuff you have right here. So why don't you kick up this leadership system?
Yeah, before I go there, I think what you said was really important. The key, the interesting thing about small business guys is you really have to start becoming experts, world-class leaders in whatever it is industry that you're in. Here we're talking about the scuba industry, right? So you have to really stop to think about, do I understand everything about retail? How am I going to get better at retail? How am I going to get better at presenting my products so that they allow people to engage with the product, to touch the product, to feel it, right?
Yep,
So
yep,
it's really about those kinds of things, right? That's what leadership is about. How do you do that? And so consistently and continuously invest in yourself becomes the invest in yourself, invest in your team, and really become the experts. You guys aren't just teaching scuba, right? You're showing the world that, hey, here's a way to see, inner space, right? To see another world, to see how the oceans work underneath it, right? And so it's a big responsibility. And so we should look at it like it's a big responsibility. We want to share it, right? That's why you open the business. You want to share things with people.
right.
And that's the spirit behind it all. So there it is. But yeah, no, let's talk about this leadership system that I got here, right? So what I did here was I broke it down in basically two parts. There's the first side of this, which is the vision, and the second side, which is the action and the spirit, right?
Yeah.
So now on the vision here, what I've done is, again, listed out the 5 things that I think you got to have to help you get clear about your vision. The first one is your point of view, right? So your point of view is the foundation of understanding the essence of building a business that works. So, you're going to say, hey, well, what does it look like for me to have my business? What are my principles? Do I want to be able to work on it, not in it? Do I want systemization? Do I want, leadership? What is it? Those kinds of things that I want. My point of view. You have to be clear about your point of view so that you can share it with your people and your customers, so that they buy into that and they make it part of themselves, and then they continues to use you. That's the key behind that kind of thing. And then the next part is your primary aim. Now, again, this is all about putting your life first. Your business is a vehicle to get what you want. You got to be clear about what you want so that your business can get you that. Right. So you do have to take the time to think about what's important to you and how you're going to use that business to get there. Now, your strategic objective, this is a clear written statement of what your business will be when it's complete. You need to be able to write down, hey, I want my business, 10 years from now, I want my business to look like this. 1 year from now, I want my business to look like this. Whatever it is that you want to sell it in 1 year, 5 years, whatever it is, you need to be clear about what that vision looks like. I want my people to be happy. I want to be able to go on, 10 dive trips a year. Whatever that is that you think is important should be in that strategic objective. Then your company story, this is what's unique to you.
Yeah.
It's all about being unique to you. The company story.
Yeah, I always find these interesting because I love to go into businesses, whether it be Chick-fil-A or whether it be Buc-ee's or whether it's some of these places. You always love to. I love to read the company stories because it gives me, it just gives me a photo or a snapshot of inside of what the thought process you were to think of this brilliant business that you've come to. Most interesting thing I just saw was I read the big company story. And I just mentioned Buc-ee's, which I had never heard of, believe it or not. Being a northern guy, I never really heard of Buc-ee's. But I read the company story, listened to the owners and stuff like that. And the most intriguing thing that I took away from that successful business was they were just committed to clean bathrooms. And I thought that was just such a simple concept, but here they are now branching out all across the United States, and they don't even have a board of directors. They're just 2 guys that own the company outright. So I just find that an absolutely amazing story. I love company stories. I love reading company stories when I walk into businesses. And if store owners don't have a company story posted, they're really missing out on an opportunity to separate, because people are passionate about what they do. We have a belonging thing. People want to belong to, they want to identify. Yeah. And that's where they can identify with these store owners.
Yeah. No, that's a great example of Buc-ee's, and I'm sorry that you're from the north there, Ange. It's kind of tough. But
I know you're old Texas. I know you old Texas boys think of everything down there.
Exactly. We grew up with Buc-ee's. Hell, we'll drive 70 miles to go see Buc-ee's. A chip brisket sandwich, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I totally appreciate you bringing that, making that point about the company story. I try to get every company we work hard on those company stories on the clients that I work with. right? Because we want to post them, we want to show them, we want people to come in. And as you said just a moment ago, Ange, people buy into that spirit. They buy into that idea of, wow, look, this is what this guy thought it was going to be, and he's doing it. You know, that's the part that gets people jacked up, you know, and at the same time, you know, it could be discouraging if you've been in business for a while and you haven't done what you said you were going to do, right? You just got the job, as I said earlier. So, you know, the company story is a big piece of the vision. You should, you know, you should plaster it. You should put it on, you know, you go to restaurants, they put it on the back of the menus. You know, Buc-ee's, as soon as you walk in, they got a whole video of it, you know, that you can stand there and watch it, you know. So, you know, they really put it as a prominent piece of their marketing. It really does become a big piece of the marketing and drives people to their business. So good point on that one. And then the last one on the vision is the key strategic indicators. Again, so helps you focus on creating and communicating your vision of the future. So you're going to take what's going to happen in those key strategic indicators. You're going to go back and look at your strategic objective. And you're going to say, okay, what are the important tangibles and intangibles? You know, in your strategic objective, you're going to say, hey, I want to, you know, be a $10 million, you know, 12 scuba shops throughout, you know, throughout the Southeast, right? So that would be a tangible indicator. And then an intangible indicator is that, you know, we're going to create an environment that's all about diving. So you're going to have to look at that and say, well, how do I measure that? Well, if I walk into your shop and it looks like, you know, 1970s, I don't know, something in 1970s, you know, then it doesn't look like it's wide open, free, clear to the ocean, then, or to the, you know, to the underwater world, then you get a 0 on that, right? Your measurement would be a 0. Does that make sense?
No, absolutely, 100%.
Yeah.
You see it all the time. I mean, you walk into a lot of stores, they look tired and exhausted. So just kind of review on the vision, okay? So, because I've seen it, like I said before, we've presented it in many different languages, not languages, but different dynamics. But to understand it, okay, just to review it, you got to have a point of view. You got to have a primary aim. You got to have a strategic objective. You got to share your company story, and then you got to have strategic indicators, things that goals, basically.
Yeah, goals that you measure, that
right.
you move towards. That's going to be part of the action steps, right?
There you go.
Yeah. You got it. You want me to move on? I'll keep moving towards action and spirit side.
Yeah, let's go to action spirits right now.
Yeah. So on the action and spirit side, if you look at the key frustration process, it's really a system I give people, right? It's a 7-step process. You know, it's basically a method by which you can identify the frustrating underlying conditions, you know, business conditions, and create a system solution to eliminate the underlying undesirable condition. So what happens here is that, again, we all have frustrations with our business, you know, but how are we going to approach them, and how are we going to eliminate the frustration? Well, there's always a finger pointing going on. Oh, it's Angelo's problem. He did this, he did that. And Angelo's going to say, oh, it's Dave Winford's problem. He doesn't do what he says he's going to do. So we're throwing people under the bus all the time. But with this process, this key frustration process, leadership, it's really a way to lead. It's somewhat of a management way of thinking, a decision-making process. Helps you to get past that finger pointing and get to the point of, hey, you know, there's a problem here, and it's probably because there is either a lack of a system, or we're not following the system, you know, or our system's not really as robust as we thought it was, and we need to make sure it's robust. So that right. Go ahead.
Go ahead. When you finish that up, because there's an interesting analogy that you always threw at me that resonated, that sticks in my mind all the time. But go ahead, finish up what you were saying there.
Well, that's what I was doing. I'm just going to say there is the key frustration process. That way of thinking helps people make better decisions towards what's going on in their business, or frustrations going on in their business. And because you have a system to do that, you move faster. You get past the finger pointing. You eliminate the finger pointing. Therefore, you build a much stronger business. You create a place where people want to be. Does that make sense?
So yeah, it is. So I think so how can we work? What can we take away from this? So if you're listening to this, and I mean, obviously that this presentation is being recorded, so that people can go back and review this, but take a look at your business, or whether it's how you're running your business, or whatever situation is, but you have to look at the business side of it, and you have to ask yourself, that if I stepped away today, okay, would my business continue to run without me? And I think it boils down to what you always said before, the superior individual running an average system, or are we a average individual running the superior system? Because if the superior system is in place, then we eliminate a lot of the key frustration processes because it becomes systematically based and the thing that it flows like clockwork. Is that a great, would that be a good assessment of what key frustration process is?
Yeah, that's a really good way to sum it up. In all reality, you really want to make sure that you're thinking about systematizing your business so that in the long run, it's gonna bring more value to your business. And if you want to sell it, or if you want to, more value means that's the sell side. That's the easy thing to think about. But more value meaning that you can remove yourself from the business, not participate as much in the business, or just do the things you love in the business. And those things that you don't really love, you've systematized and you've got the right people running the right systems equals speed, is what I always said. So you've got to have the right people in place for sure. And you got to have the right systems in place, and there's speed, because everybody on the planet wants more speed, right? So, they want to get there faster. And how do they get there faster? They got to have those kinds of things. And this key frustration process helps them do that. As I said a moment ago, it helps make a decision quicker about what are we going to do about this frustration, right? Now, again, in the frustration process, step one, definitely identify it. Step two, hey, let's redefine this as a system issue. Step three, you're going to break down the entire frustration. What's it cost me? How often does it happen? You're going to look at all the pain around it in step three. And then step four, you're going to say to yourself, okay, well, let me redefine this and come up with a name for the system. But step five is the important part to me, right? Because step three, you have to definitely breaking everything out. But then step five, the question, you get to ask the question, am I going to really do anything about it? Right. And so, you know how many times I've heard no? No, I don't want to do anything about it.
We're just going to beat this dead horse.
yeah, we're going to beat this dead horse. Or they recognize that it's a frustration, but it only comes up like once a year, twice a year. It's only costing the company, a couple of $100, and whatever it is, right? And so they'll feel comfortable saying no. I don't want to do anything about it right now. Right. But again, being able to go through that process helps them move through it faster. Does that make sense?
Very interesting. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. And so the next thing here is called the characteristics of the world-class manager. So again, I'm talking about the world-class entrepreneur and how to be one. So now you got to teach your people how to be world-class managers. There's characteristics that you're looking for. Now, I have a whole bunch of characteristics that I think are important for that kind of thinking, that mindset, the world-class mindset. Yet, again, as I said a moment ago, it's your way. It's whatever you guys want to do with it. So you'll come up with your own characteristics, or you'll adapt the ones I suggested in the process. But the deal is that we do have to teach people how to lead. Just like I'm giving you a system right now, giving all the folks that are out there listening to this thing a system, vision, action, spirit. And then I'm giving you these two, these categories. Here's vision, here's the things you need to be under. So you have to have some type of system, I think, so that people are clear about which way they're going with it. 100%. And then there's the point of view. Oh, you have something to say about that, Ange?
No, you're right on. Point of view action.
Yeah, so point of view and action, this is all about shifting your point of view for greater productivity and personal satisfaction. This is you getting clear, you the owner, you the entrepreneur, right? You the world-class entrepreneur, getting clear about what's important to you and taking the steps to change that point of view and adapt that point of view for greater productivity and personal satisfaction. That's the key. So, and then lastly, it's the time controlling system. Okay, so, this system shows how to maximize your most precious resource, time. There's only so much time in a day. There's only so much we got. The struggle that we all have is that we don't know when the clock ends. So we think it's eternity, and it's not. And so you have to be really clear about how you're going to manage your time, manage your life. And that's all around getting clear with your most precious resource, which is time. And
I think that's something we all need to get back in control of, because I think one of the things, obviously, we went through this whole pandemic thing. And I think a lot of people lost control of time because we started, we just lost control, man, between Zoom calls, working, trying to figure out things like working around schedules. I really think that people have lost control of the time system, and how to manage their time. I mean, we're working, so that's something that we have to step back, because obviously it leads into a frustration process.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, time's an interesting kind of thing, right? I hear all the time. The other day I was on a site with a client, and I'm dealing with his managers, and they're telling me, hey, I can't block time like you can block time, Dave. You can block time, but I can't block it. And I said, well, that's not necessarily true, right? First, you got to be clear about how your working style is, right? I'm an hour guy, so I work on things at an hour at a time. So if I'm going to commit myself to a project, I usually block out 5 hours. That's just my standard. And then I start blocking an hour here, an hour, on the next 5 days later out. I look at my calendar and I block those 5 hours out. And then when, I don't think about it until it comes up, that time to go work on that particular project. And then when it's time to work on that project, I work on that project for an hour. If I'm able to complete it, I complete it. If I don't complete it, I know I've got another hour to work on it. And so I just put it away and don't think about it. So I think the key here is to really be honest with yourself about the way you look at time and the way you use time and the way you're productive with time. Again, Angelo's probably a block guy. He probably, likes to work on things 2 or 3 hours at a time. So I would say to Ange, hey, Ange, then block 6 hours. So 2 hours here, 2 hours there, 2 hours there. If you needed all 6 hours, great. If you didn't need all 6 hours, you completed the project ahead of time. Send it off and away you go.
Yeah,
does that make sense?
No, 100%. Because I think that was one of the biggest values that that you had shared with me was living on the calendar. You got to block stuff out. And you got to allocate that time. Because time is the most valuable thing we have. And in order for us to make sure that we can accomplish our goals, accomplish our tasks, manage the way we're supposed to, portray ourselves as good leaders, we really need to manage the time in which we have in our disposal.
Yeah. So, a slogan I like to say to people, hey, you have a closed door, open calendar policy. Right?
Hey, I got a closed door, open calendar policy. So I'm going to use that one a lot more, especially the present position that I'm in right now at NAUI. I have a closed door, but an open calendar policy.
Yeah. So you want people to look at your calendar and schedule an appointment with you.
Right on.
Right. And the reason for that is because if you were doing that to me, I want to make sure I have your undivided attention. I don't want to be interrupted or you divided, your attention is divided somewhere else. Right. And that shows respect. Right. So it's like, if I'm talking to you, it's like right now, if we're on this webinar, can you imagine if I didn't turn off my phone and I didn't have all the other things muted out, you guys would be, upset, think that I'm disrespecting you because I'm answering the phone in the middle of the webinar. Right. So,
it's very interesting because there was an old philosophy years ago, was taught in a lot of things. And like we said, there's it's not reinventing the wheel. It's just recirculating and kind of just retapping on the same old topics. But it evolves around, a couple different bullet points, time management. Okay. So what is that? What are you trying to say here? I mean, what about this concept? Like if you scheduled appointments with your potential students, or you scheduled appointments with your potential customers, now you're giving them your undivided attention. So now they are feeling like they are super special to you. And that goes along with building that great leadership, that great management style. Whereas, hey, you have a commitment in your store to making it, the optics of being fresh. It's innovative. It looks good. You have a commitment to the customer, that when they come in, they feel like that they are their only, that you are their only, that they are your only customer. You're giving them the entire attention to detail, just a commitment to being innovative and dynamic. So you're constantly bringing the best foot forward. So, and it's all based around how you manage your time.
Yep. Sure is. And respect.
Yeah. I mean, how many times do you see it? Like when you walk into a store, okay, you have a guy sitting at the counter waiting to talk to you, but the phone is ringing and there's the interrupter. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And they answer the phone call and then the guy is just sitting there at the counter. I mean, that's just not a good management of time. It's not a good system to talk about what we were talking about earlier. So we need to figure that, there needs to be a lot of figures on that, but sorry to get you off the rails there, but
No, it's a big piece, Ange. It really is. Because again, how are you going to honor yourself? You know, these are kinds of things. How are you going to respect it? If you can't respect yourself, then how do you respect someone else? Right. But the most interesting kind of thing about this is that, again, if that shop owner that you just described right there, I walk into his shop, he's standing there behind the counter or whatever it is, not engaging with me or whatever, or he's about to engage me and the telephone rings and he picks up the telephone before he engages with me. Right. Now, if I took that shop owner and I went to some other business, he went to some other business and that happened to him, what do you think he would say?
yeah.
He would say, that's pretty damn disrespectful. What the heck's this guy doing?
Yeah.
Yet he's doing it in his own shop. Right.
See it all the time. I mean, I would, you know, obviously now I'm inside at NAUI as a, you know, inside with you know, straddled to a desk. But, you know, prior to that, being out on the road as a representative, you know, I'd walk into stores all the time and, you know, you're waiting to have your appointment with your owner. And you're just sitting there and observing and watching. And you're seeing the customers come in the store. You're seeing them answering the phone. You're seeing, you know, chaos at its finest. So, and that's, you know, I think that's all stems back to, you know, designing a system, the superior system that the average individuals can run, you know, and excelling into the just, you know, those components, the vision, which are, you know, vision and action, you know, putting all those systems in place so the system flows like a clockwork. And then, you know, committing everything to the customer, committing everything to innovation, committing everything to another thing that you don't see in the businesses today is like giving back, developing a program to give back. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, we're taking in customers and we're doing all this thing, but how are we giving back? And that's another thing that really needs to be addressed too. And inside a lot of the businesses as they develop all these types of programs and leaderships and stuff.
Well, that gets back to their vision, Ange. So good job with that one. That gets right back to their vision. That if they want to get back to the community, they will. It'll be in their vision. If they don't want to get back to it, because it's not something you have to do if it's not your vision. That's why it's got to be your vision, your way, you know, within the spirit of the way you want to do it. So, you know, while you're one of those entrepreneurs, who like to give back, you like that community process or part of it. It's important to you. It's part of your principles, values, and principles. You're going to have it in your strategic objective. So it's going to be clear the vision, your vision about that. But other people may not. You know, that's why I'm saying it's more importantly that you just look at these kinds of things in the system that I'm giving you here. And I know I'm giving it to you at the 10,000 foot view mark, guys. I know that. So I don't want anybody to think I'm, you know, crazy. I just didn't want to overwhelm you with all kinds of stuff. I wanted you to see it at the 10,000 foot view. And then, you know, if you want to do something, then you'll reach out and do something. Right. That's the key behind that. So again, you know, as I'm sort of wrapping this up here around the things I want to say about this, you know, now you guys all have an outline for a leadership system. It's truly a roadmap that will help you, you know, with more success. And that was my goal here. And as I always like to say, you know, as Spock says, live long and prosper, my friends. So we'll do the questions and answers, Ange, if that's what you'd like to do, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, I think that just to circle back on what you said, and it is super important that everybody here understands that there was, you know, in this presentation today, it's an outline, it's a roadmap, it's however you want to call it, okay? But it's like you said, it's a 10,000 foot view. If somebody wants to get more engaged, to find it, to go dive really deep into this and really put the work effort in, then I would encourage every single person here to call David Winford, at, you know, or simply engage with him at coachwinford@gmail.com. I will share this with everybody because this was a very interesting. You and I have had multiple conversations on this. About a year ago, we did a presentation, I think on, it wasn't even a year ago, but we did a presentation on how to win the profit game. And at the end of that presentation, you offered a free hour. You offered a free analysis that you can find at least $10,000 in your business within 1 hour of just simply going in and looking into your business and finding $10,000. And you offered that for free. Okay. And the amazing stat that came out of that presentation that day, there were over 175 participants on the call that day, and only one person took advantage of it. One person called you. And the amazing thing about that one person, he signed on as a client of yours, and is still working with you today.
Yes. A year later, over a year.
A year later, right? So
Yeah.
that's what I always find amazing, that you came forth and you gave this gift, you know, like, here, I am going to, and not only this, the amazing thing about that presentation that which was the funniest thing I ever heard, you didn't find him $10,000. You found him over $150,000.
Yeah, exactly.
So that was the funny thing about the whole story, was that it wasn't even 10,000, it was 150,000. So and now he has signed on for a second year with you.
Yes. Yep.
So this presentation we did today, for those who are out there, because Madison is texting me on the back channel, she's like, Angelo, please let everyone know that this will be put on youtube.com/NAUI TV. It will be up there by tomorrow to rewatch, and you guys can review it. I would also encourage every single person who has watched this presentation today, as a reminder, this wasn't a silver bullet presentation to where you're going to walk out of here with, you got a couple ideas. Hopefully there is something positive here that you saw, that you will not just reach out to David Winford, but maybe reach out to another professional, whoever it may be, to start the wheels turning in that process to that roadmap to a leadership, to a world-class, being a world-class entrepreneur and utilizing a roadmap to success. It's critical, because I think, especially as we go forward, the greatest thing that I learned from the pandemic was not everybody was prepared. We don't know about what's going to happen tomorrow, and how many businesses, you know, that ran their businesses by a checkbook, didn't have any understanding about their inventory control, weren't on a financial system. But all of a sudden, the government is coming forth and giving out all this money, and businesses did not qualify because they did not have their I's dotted, their T's crossed. Yes, they maybe had a vision, but they were not able to communicate it or put it down on a piece of paper and implement it, like you said earlier. Is that a good assessment?
That's a great assessment. And again, that happens. I've seen it. So, you know, you got to have your plan put together. In a storm, you know, we all hear it, we all know it. Well, heck, I'm talking to divers, right? Right? Plan your dive your plan. Is that what you guys say?
Man, that thing was written down in 1960, I think.
So why is it any different?
It is no different. It is no different. It's the fact that I think you hit on it earlier. We get lazy and everything, and we become complacent, and then next thing you know, we get off the rails a little bit. But hey, Winnie, I really appreciate you coming out here today, and just thankful that you can give us 45 minutes of your time. And it's always fun getting linked up with you, kind of debating and talking back and forth, because I know that you've helped me in my business back in the day, and I still turn to you for advice. Today, a lot of the stuff that we're doing at NAUI is information that you have passed down to us in a way that we can, hey man, try this or try that. So we're, a lot of the stuff that we're doing has the David Winford lipstick all over it. But again, guys, I just want to address, I got to get back to this right here, because I don't want to get Madison all upset, but please remember that tomorrow you guys can go and find this on the youtube.com /NAUI TV. It'll be up by tomorrow. You guys can rewatch and do all the further review. When you got anything last things to add?
No, there's no questions. Nobody needs it. Nobody.
Wait a second. I got one Q&A coming in. I got a Q&A coming in.
Okay.
What are the characteristics you look for in a world-class? What are the characteristics you look for in a world-class manager?
Yeah. Well, this is an interesting kind of thing, right? It's like hiring, right? What are the characteristics when you hire? I think it's basically the same kind of thing. So the first thing I like to have at the top of the list is integrity. The reason why I say integrity is because everything else I can teach, right? But I can't teach integrity. So again, you'll have to define what integrity means to you, right? Like honesty. Another characteristic might be enthusiastic about learning. In y'all's environment, they've got to want to learn, right? The gentleman I'm working with is in the scuba shop that's I'm working with. He's always debating me about, I can't teach them how to be retailers. I can't teach them how to do. So I'm like, that's not true. Oh, they have to be. Another thing he'll say to me is, they need to know how to dive. Well, that's your job, is to teach them how to dive. What I want them to be is enthusiastic about the ocean. So if that's a characteristic that's important to you, that would, you would have that on the list. So, what I'll do is, since that's a question, Ange, what I'll do? I'll send Madison the outline of that character, those characteristics, and I'll let her post it up. Okay. Hopefully Madison's okay with that. Madison, is that okay? hopefully Madison's gonna text you.
She's hiding behind the NAUI.
Yeah, I see her. But I'll do that, Ange. I'll send that to you right now. Okay. I mean, as soon as I get off this thing. Yeah. So I'll give you guys a whole list of the characteristics, but my number one, to answer it, cleanly, is I'm looking for integrity. That's the number one characteristic. The rest of them are, okay, I'll live with them and whatever. But if that person doesn't have some type of integrity, or the integrity that I'm looking for, I don't really waste any more time with them. I move on, whether they're working for me or not. Because like right now, some of you guys are working there, might have people, and you say, well, if integrity is one of mine, or if you get the list and you start to grade yourself out, and you say, well, let me get my people to grade it, then, wow, there's some people here that don't have the characteristics I'm looking for. Right. So you might say, okay, it's not a fit and have to move on, or you help them get those characteristics. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Anna Marie says, thank you.
Oh, Anna Marie. Okay, there you go. Thank you, Anna Marie, for the question. And I will send it. You'll get a page of it, I promise you. Madison will have it.
Anything else? So with that, man, it doesn't look like we have any more. Oh, wait. We got another one sneaking in here, I think. It looks like. Hang on a second. They always getting ready to hang up, man, get off the line. And next thing you know, another one comes in, man. So
well, leadership's a funny thing, right? Because it's all around us. People talk about it at this level, but we don't really engage with it. Yeah. And so that's what, when you asked me, can I put something around leadership? I thought it was important for us to talk about this vision, action, and spirit, and look at it from this 10,000 foot view, Mark, so that you can really start to say to yourself, wow, am I a world-class entrepreneur? Right. And maybe you're not right now, but you'll have a way to get there. You have a path to get there, is where hopefully it happens. What's the question, bro?
No, that was it, man. Okay. You got it. I was just double tapping on it. So,
okay, cool beans.
Anyway, without any further questions, I think we can wrap it up right here. We came in under an hour, man. It's awesome stuff. We got some training things accomplished. If you guys have any questions about the training, you can reach out to myself, reach out to NAUI Training. Or just with a lot of make sure you guys are up to speed on our NAUI news that comes out on the 1st and the 15th every month. Madison does a great job of publishing the NAUI training stuff that's in there. There's some articles that are always in there and some bulletins that are in there. So it's been reformatted. It looks awesome. So make sure you guys catch that on the 1st and the 15th. If you're not seeing it, make sure you reach out to us to let us know. And then we'll do another one of these NAUI talks in the second quarter. Try to put together nice topics so it's relevant to everybody's business needs, and then we'll just roll off of that. Winnie, I appreciate, again, man, I love you, man. I appreciate it. Love you. Just love linking up with you. Now I'll give you a shout soon. All right, brother?
All right, see you.
See you, brother. Thank you so much.